I'll just take 1 minute to set up and then I will start. Technology, like art, is a soaring exercise of human imagination. Hey everyone, this is Siddhansh. I'm extremely thrilled to expend some time to give you all an insight on the topic digital society and netizens. So today, in the 21st year of the 21st century, we all are a part of an electronic world. We use various gadgets and equipments every day. New and advanced innovations are reshaping our society, economy, and industries with a scale and speed never seen before. It has helped us to integrate information and communication technologies at home, work, and education, and in developing and evolving businesses, transportation, communication, banking, etc. A progressive society is formed as a result of adoption as well as integration of advanced technologies. Let's know about three sectors where digital technologies have shown maximum impact: our daily life, professions, and businesses. Just a second, I'm just experiencing a lag. Yeah. So now when it comes to our daily life, the list is just endless. As the silicon chip reach permeates almost everything we do. It has helped us to communicate virtually like we are doing now, to have a tech for literally any work, give us access to any information in this world in a matter of seconds, and a whole lot of things for entertainment and learning. In the health sector, AI-enabled technologies are helping in diagnosis and saving lives. In education, virtual learning environment and distance learning have opened up programs to students who would otherwise be excluded. Public services are also becoming more accessible and accountable through blockchain-powered systems and less bureaucratically burdensome thanks to AI assistance. Big data can also support more responsive and accurate policies and programs. Now, when it comes to our work, it is the foundation of WFH, aka work from home. It has helped our work to be way more organized and flawless. Lot tasks easier. Looking at business and industries, it is unimaginable to run a commerce platform without the slightest help of digitalization. It has helped people to set up their businesses online and reach out to customers across the globe. It has helped a lot of freelancers, artisans, craftsmen, specialists, and small scale producers to gain online presence and marketing. Talking of large commerce structure, it shapes the business strategies, client company relationships, product comparisons, and a lot more. Now, it has only been successful because of one term present in our life, and that is internet. This internet architecture has revolutionized the communications and method of commerce by allowing various computers around the globe to interconnect. It is a decentralized system with no centralized governance in either technological implementation or policies. Thus, it is the prime reasons of today's constantly evolving digital infrastructure and has helped a gathering plethora of data in an infinitesimal time of intervals. The assets of internet are just endless, and I don't think I need to mention any examples for the experience literally tons of them every single day. But yeah, just like every coin is a flip side, internet do has its demerits. But one thing is certain that there's no turning back now. Digital technology will spread further, and efforts to ignore it will likely fail. It's because we, the netizens, aka the keen and habitual users of the internet, actively seek to contribute to the development of the internet and are responsible for every action on it. Cyberspace, a part of this interconnected digital society, is this place where we users interact, exchange ideas, share information, provide support, conduct businesses, play games, and do a lot many things. But as we spend our time on internet, a lot of data gets regularly collected by various websites and trackers and organizations. This data left behind after the user had been online are called digital footprints. Whatever we are doing on internet can leave a trail of information behind us, which people can use to determine what we might be interested in. Publishing a blog, posting social media updates are another way to expand our digital footprint. Every tweet and post we make contributes to digital footprint. The more we spend time on social networking websites, the larger our digital footprint will be. Now, these footprints are mainly of two types. Just a second, sorry. Now, these footprints are of two types, active and passive. An active digital footprint is where the user have deliberately shared information about themselves. For example, a user might have logged into a site when editing, posting, or making comments. The registered name or profile can be linked to the posts that have been made, and it's surprisingly easy to find a lot about the person from the trails left behind. Now, a passive footprint is when information is collected from the user without the person's knowledge. Example would be where a user had been online and information had been stored on an online database. This can include their They are the medium via which a website gets access to one's information in order to provide a better user experience and to save and reprovide the data upon revisit in the future. Now, to make this concept of footprints totally clear to you, here's a brief overview of how one of the largest tech giants, Amazon, collects and uses footprints. And actually, here's someone who knows about Amazon a lot more than me. So here's actually Alexa to tell you that.
Hey everyone, this is Alexa and I am here to tell you how Amazon uses footprints to understand customers and improve business strategies. Amazon keeps track of the entire item you have viewed and how frequently you have viewed them. It personalizes the results for you beforehand, not only on their main app but also on various other sites through Google AdSense and other possible social platforms. Amazon gathers data on each of its customers and puts them off making purchasing decisions. Before buying anything, Amazon checks the results for customers and compares them with similar products.
Siddhant, you're not
Yeah,
audible.
it's so horrible.
No, it's not audible.
Hey everyone, this is Alexa and I am here to tell you how Amazon uses footprints to understand customers and improve business strategies. Amazon keeps track of the entire item you have viewed and how frequently you have viewed them. It personalizes the results for you beforehand, not only on their main app but also on various other sites through Google AdSense and other possible social platforms. Amazon's recommendation technology is based on collaborative filtering, which means it decides what it thinks you want by building up a picture of who you are, then offering you products that people with similar profiles have purchased. Amazon gathers data on each of its customers while they use the site. Not only what you buy, but the company monitors what you look at, your shipping address, and whether you leave reviews. The retailer also makes use of external data sets, such as census data for gathering demographic details. Too much choice and too little guidance can overwhelm customers and put them off making purchasing decisions. Recommendation engines simplify the task of predicting what a customer wants by profiling them and looking what people who fit into similar niches buy. So next time when you get suggestions on other sites for products you might have browsed on Amazon, this is the whole concept behind it. Now back to Siddhant.
I hope you enjoyed it, and I think I'm audible. I'm audible.
Yes, Siddhant, you're audible.
So I have another example for you. On Google Ads settings, actually you can find a list of interest categories which Google automatically generates using one's history, footprints, logins, and pre-given data. Here you can see mine. These are then used to show ads and commercials on various third-party sites. Now, are collecting these footprints actually harmful? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. As mentioned earlier, most of these footprints are actually collected for promotional purposes to show ads of interest, knowing customer behavior, product opinions, etc. But sometimes they can have repercussions too. If not handled properly, authenticity of every site can't be the same. Their levels of security are different. Even large organizations like Facebook have been victim of data breaches. These footprints can then also be used to gain one's info for illegal purposes or maybe for hacking into one's account. We cannot surf the net without leaving digital footprints. But what we can do is actually control them. Now you will get an in-depth knowledge about it during the data protection and cyber safety part, but I will end my presentation by giving a brief idea about it. Well, some of the common methods are always having an anti-malware system ready and creating strong, hard to decrypt passwords. And you're keeping two-factor authorization always on, wherever available. Also, there are a few websites which actually use your footprints to help you track your footprints. Like I would like to give you a sneak peek of one of them. This is a site. Is it visible? Yeah. Mm. Yeah, this is a site named Mine which uses my Google account to show all the services I'm using. I have logged into what data do they collect about me, degree of their safety, whether they are involved in earlier data breaches, all that. So yeah, now this calls for the end of the presentation, and I really hope that my whole presentation was interactive as well as informative for all of you. This is Siddhant Sham signing out. Thank you. Peace. Any questions?
I would request the judges to take over.
Yes, good afternoon to all.
Good
Siddharth,
afternoon, sir. Yes, sir. Good
Siddharth,
afternoon.
you just told me about the WFH, one word
Yes,
you
sir.
used.
Work
What is
from
that?
home.
Yes,
Work from home. Yes,
okay. And you are using that AI concept, something you told about AI concept.
yes, sir.
What is
Yes,
that
sir.
AI?
Sir, artificial intelligence in
Now,
definition.
okay. Now, where we are using this one nowadays? In that, where we are using this AI? AI concept, which part we are using now?
Almost every aspect we uses which uses data somehow related to data.
Particular example, can you describe?
Particular example, like we are using Google, the Google search automatically identifies what we might be searching and gives us some results that are also this is also one what I can say example of AI.
Right, right. And what about the cookies? Some part you have written there also.
Yes, sir.
Cookies. Hmm.
Because like we can see that when we visit websites, many times they ask us to accept a cookie. Means cookies are just defined that they want to know our information and that if we visit their site in future, they can store that information and can then reprovide that data that we can start from there. We don't have to log in again. We don't have to show this again. That all.
Okay. And about the footprint, two types are there. You told active and passive. What is
Yes,
the
sir.
passive footprint?
Passive is the one which we don't know that it is like the site knows that from where we are accessing that data, like our IP address and like which computer we are using to access that data. It is not asking permission from us. It is taking it directly. It gets that info directly without asking for permission from us.
What is IP address? What is
IP address is so IP address is a local address created when what I can say is like local address is connected when we try to access something on the internet through our service provider. It is a local address which created like to know exactly from where this request is coming to access that data.
okay, okay. Very good, very good. Nice presentation. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Sasna madam, please.
Yes. Siddhant, thank you for excellent presentation. My query is
Thank you,
here.
ma'am.
You talk about the big data. So
Yes, sir.
what is the role of this big data in the digital society?
Big data like ma'am, you can see. Again, I would like to give the example of Google. We can literally find any information from from Google. Like now, that big data is like what is that different websites are there. Now they have to organize it for us in the form that we get the best search result. That what we are actually finding for. How that is organized. It is also it is also like. Generated via using our footprints like what we are interested in looking at and all that.
Okay. Next question is, you said cookies track online activities, use and habits, which is not secure, I think so. So how to
Yes.
remove, you said cookies track our online activities, uses and habits, which I think it is not secure one. So how to remove those?
No, actually, yeah, cookies are actually you can block your cookies from like your browser settings. They may be safe, may not be. It depends on the website which is using them.
Suppose it is not safe at all. So how to remove the cookies from our device? Can we remove
Like
those?
yeah, means that website settings have to block the cookies. Like I can show you now if you want.
Okay.
I will show.
If time permits, you can show it now.
Okay, then is my screen visible?
Yeah, no, screen is not visible.
Okay, just a second, just a minute, just. Now,
Yes, visible.
yeah. So like I think you can see the women's browser. This is Safari. Okay, so actually I have here the SS, like I can 3 trackers prevented. I can content blockers. I can turn off. Like it is also tracking the trackers which all I have. You can block the cookies from here actually, which you want to let them access, which you want to not. And then again in the settings, you have that content blockers. I will show you that also. Prevent cross-site tracking, block all cookies, fraudulent website tracking, all that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Siddhant. That was wonderfully explained and with plethora passion. Next, we
Thank you.
have Roshni Bhubneshwari Swai from 11C with a presentation on the subtopic data protection. Roshni, please.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you're audible as well as visible.
Is my presentation visible?
Yes, dear.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected judges, teachers, and all my dear friends. Today I am Roshni Bhubneshwari Swai of class 11C going to present on the topic data protection. In today's world, at a time which is often called the information age, where information is freely available to everyone and from all the part, internet has revolutionized the world and people are getting used to have access to whatever information they want anytime and from a wide range of computing devices. Unfortunately, this has resulted in the increased security concern. Even if you ensure that your computer isn't connected to any of the external media, but if it is connected to the internet, then the data in a computer is still vulnerable. So now let us go and understand what is data. Data may be defined as information or facts that are produced and stored in a computer and are generally used to calculate, analyze, or plan something. The various examples of data are emails, research works, documents, and even if your address, phone numbers, and names can be your data. Now let us understand what is data protection. Data protection may be defined as a process of safeguarding your data from corruption, compromise, and loss. In today's developmental world, there has an increase in number of threats. A threat may be defined as a potential violation of security. Whenever our computer is connected to the internet, it is under constant attack from the cyber vandals. And to secure our data from these hackers, we need data protection. We should always ensure that our data is always under our control. And for this, we need data security and data privacy. Now let us see what are the different threats to our data. The first one is viruses. These are malicious codes and programs that cause damage to a system. It is man-made and can attack any part of the software. These are self-replicating programs which copy themselves to different devices and spread to all the part of the computer. Viruses are subdivided into two types, that is worms. It is a self-replicating program which eats up the entire disk space. Trojans, it appears harmless, but it is responsible for deleting and damaging files. The various damages that a virus can cause are, it is responsible for damaging and deleting files, it eats up the entire disk space, it invades your email program, and it slows down your PC. The next one is spyware. It is a software which is installed on your computer to spy on your activities and report it to the person willing to pay for it. It basically gets installed in your PC without your consent when you download or visit certain websites. These can, the damages that a spyware can cause are, it alters your PC settings, it slows down your PC, and it invades your privacy, such as it compromises your computing habits, identity, and your data. The third one is the adware. These are programs that deliver unwanted ads to your computer. It is simply spyware have it is installed with your consent. So it is advised to thoroughly read the instruction before installing a software. The disadvantages of adware are it invades your privacy just like a spyware. It displays arrays of annoying ads, and it slows down your PC, and it eats a lot of your bandwidth network. The next one is spamming. It refers to the sending of bulk mail by an identified or unidentified source. In non-malicious form, bulk advertising mail is sent to many accounts, but in malicious form, the attacker keeps on sending bulk mail until the mail server runs out of space. The various disadvantages of spamming are it reduces the productivity of the computer. It eats a lot of your time. That is, deleting spam messages may appear an easy option, but takes a lot of time. It may also lead to worse consequences, such as it may responsible for spreading viruses in your PC, and sometimes it may also contain fraud material in it. The next one is eavesdropping. The unauthorized monitoring of other people's conversation is basically known as eavesdropping. It is a passive attack in which an attacker gains access to the communication media through which some communication is taking place. Eavesdropping can take place from all the media of today's modern world. In eavesdropping, the normal transaction and communication process doesn't get affected. So the sender and the recipient both are unaware that their data is getting stolen or defaced or intercepted. The next one is phishing. It is the criminally fundamental process of attempting to acquire sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, credit card information, account data information, etc. In this process, the hacker or the imposter uses an authentic looking email or a website such that it can trick the recipient into giving out some of the most sensitive informations. The next one is PC intrusion. Every PC connected to the internet is a potential target for hackers. It occurs in three ways. The first one is sweeper attack. It is used by the hackers to delete all the data from the system. The next one is denial of services. This type of attack eats up all the resources of a system, and the system or the application comes to a halt. The third one is the password guessing. Most hackers crack or guess passwords of the system and accounts and gain entry into the remote computer system, which is a very harmful thing. Now let us understand more about data protection. The entire computer security system is based on certain actions and safeguards that are used to protect your computer system from various threats that may accidentally or deliberately access your computer to get certain data. The data protection ways are classified into two types. These are active protection and preventive measures. Installing and properly using an antivirus software that includes internet security is known as active protection. But to prevent the threats to getting into a computer is basically known as the preventive measures. So now let us discuss the various solutions to viruses, adware, and spyware. The first one is use of antivirus and anti-spyware software. These security softwares identify and eliminate the viruses from your computer that might have got into your computer. The next one is you should download updates regularly. Every day new viruses are emerging, and the security software to give us full protection, they should also know about them. And for that, updation is a necessary part. We should run a full system scan, even though the security software run scans, but once in a month you should give a full system scan. You should keep your system up to date. Malwares take advantage of the security holes in the operating system or the software application. Therefore, your operating system also must be up to date. You should be cautious when downloading files on the internet. That is, you should use the website which are reputable and have privacy settings in them. You should be careful with the email. That is, you should not open any unsolicited attachments, or you should not also download them. You should disable cookies if possible. Cookies are small files that are created on the client's computer when they visit or browse certain website. This may contain some of the personal information too. Now, the various ways to solution to spam and eavesdropping are you can use the anti-spyware. Anti-spyware uses the process of sender filtering. In this method, the messages from your authorized sender gets to your inbox, but other messages are quarantined for later review. Sender filtering is done in 3 ways. That is, first one is digital certificates, and the digital certificates are digital informations that are done by certain websites. And this next, through digital certificates helps to know the proper identity of the sender, and digital signatures authorizes the whoever produces the digital certificates. And the third one is keyword filtering. In this process, some messages are filtered on the basis of some phrases or words that are described by you or by the sender. And to get rid of spam and eavesdropping, you should always keep your email address private. That when you're sharing your email address in some of the social networking sites, you should see
Roshni,
some of the privacy
I'm
settings.
sorry to interrupt you, but your time's up.
Just few minutes.
Sure.
You should avoid
Take it.
online transaction and public Wi-Fi. Solutions to PC intrusion, that authorization and authentication. Authorization means asking legal ID, and authentication means asking for a password. You should use proper file access permission when sharing files on internet. That is, you should give you can choose the people who will be able to read, write, or interrupt your files. You should disconnect from the internet when away. And these are the few ways or guidelines that you can follow when you ever fall a victim of the phishing attack. That is to take the computer offline, back up all the files on the hardware drive, contact credit card agencies to report any possibilities of identity theft, and run an antivirus software. The next one is firewall, which is the most important solution to a computer security. It is a device or a software that is used to protect your computer from the viruses and data that you do not want. It is named so because of the real firewall fire. It is designed to set up access to your operating system or to other important files that are connected to your network. So firewall, it is of two types. One is software firewall and other one is a hardware firewall. Software, it is a special computer software, and hardware, it is a physical equipment. With this, I sign out. Thank you.
I request the judges to take over.
Yes, Rosni. You have given
Afternoon,
that. Now tell me that you have told about that some spyware, adware. Yes or no? What is bandwidth?
Yes,
What is bandwidth?
sir, our
Bandwidth.
internet.
Bandwidth. I'm asking about bandwidth. Are you clear? My voice is audible to you?
Yes, sir.
What is bandwidth? It is
So
huge
then,
internet. Yes.
so then our network connection.
Connection. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What is digital certificate? Also, you have used one thing, digital certificate. What is that?
So these are special information, specially formatted digital information about the sender, through which the recipient can identify who the sender is or can verify its identification.
Okay. So what are the main methods for data protection? What are the main methods
So-
for data protection?
So basically, you should use an anti-virus or anti-spyware, anti-adware. These are basically the protection, active protection measures. And for preventive measures, you should try to disable the cookies, and you shouldn't when you're not in something use of the internet, you should get disconnect from the internet if you don't have any work in the online transaction process. And you should not share your most of the sensitive information without checking to whom you are giving.
Okay, that you told also one word, that is firewall. Is it firewall software or hardware?
So it comes in two types. One is software and one is hardware. Software is based.
What is the use of that hardware firewall? Why you are using? Where you are using? Firewall as a hardware.
Sir, it comes in from a device to which you have to connect your computer through any type of cord. You can use it.
Okay. First, madam, please carry on.
Roshni, you have very nicely presented your topic. Now, question is here that you talked about different types of malwares. So, can you differentiate between worm and Trojan horse?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, worms are basically a program that copies itself many times till our space or the disk space gets completely runs out of space. But Trojan are the programs that just deletes all our important data from our computer.
Okay. Then, what is the difference between phishing and farming? Any differences there? Phishing
ma'am.
and farming.
Ma'am, farming phishing refers to the taking the very sensitive information from the user, that is your credit card information, your bank details. Ma'am, but farming actually I don't know.
Okay. Then I want to ask that you said firewalls are used to filter the information coming through an internet to a network or computer system. So actually, how this firewall works internally? Can you explain here?
Yes, ma'am. If any of the virus had come to our computer, the firewall just search all other systems connected to that network. Means if it has infected only one system, then the firewall doesn't allow it to come to the other system.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roshni. That was indeed very insightful. Next up, we have a student joining us from 11F. Please welcome Rishabh Mishra, armored with his subtopic, cybercrime. Rishabh, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, Rishabh, you're audible.
The saddest thing about betrayal is that it never comes from enemies, but it comes from our loved ones and our own. Technology and internet, which are our best friends, can even betray us. Good morning, everyone. Respected principal ma'am, supervisors, judges, teachers, and all my dear friends. I am Rishabh Mishra of class 11F, taking part in the seminar of computer science, which is on the topic of cyber society, law, and ethics. I have chosen my subtopic about cyber crimes, and I am going to present on that. What is cybercrime? When we hear of crime, what impression do we receive at first place? Guns, violence, wounds, and a thing which is done by hiding. But people think, how can be crime done on internet? It's a free space and there's no place to hide. But they don't realize that internet stands on the pillar of interconnections, interrelations, and was never a free space at all. And for a fun fact, internet is also the most safest place to commit crime. As you must have heard of the most famous meme nowadays, that there's no place like 127.0.0.1, and it's also pretty true. The thing that is most done on internet is search, that is done on search engines. So let's start with this. Now, how our internet search works. Here also many people have misconfusion that search has only two processes. That is input, that what we search, and the output, what are the results that we get. But they are simply wrong. Our search has 6 processes, as we can see in this image. Our search acts like a transmission, which is taken up by a web spider. It redirects us to a particular website. Then at backend, our searches and our IP address is stored. It then rearranges and hashes it. And then after that, we get our result after the encoding. If an hacker wants to attack us here, he will create a link in which he will use many proxy chains, and he or she will make it a maze so that internet would not recognize it at a stroke and would make us click that. And if we did that, it becomes very easy now for the attacker to trace our IP address, our exact location, passwords, everything. Moving on to the next topic, that is phishing. It has also some similar techniques as the one discussed above. Here also the hacker will attract us to a link which would be of Google, Instagram, etc. But it would not be the original link. It would be a clown site, and if we go there and enter any of our personal data, then we are gone. Now the attacker can easily get access to our passwords. This is the most effective method of hacking into any password, but this can also become unsuccessful if the link is not properly arranged by the attacker. and the search engine might prompt us with a warning. Here is an example what we can do. So it's better not to go to that state. Moving on to the next method, which is called brute forcing. Here, this method generally affects the people who have mostly predictable amount of data. Those who have predictable email IDs, predictable passwords, the hacker can easily get them by making a word list and applying simple algorithms to get into the passwords. So it might not affect many of the people, but can affect some of the people. So it is better not to keep predictable email IDs and passwords and to be safe in the internet. Now coming to the most effective method of hacking, that is hashing. This is regarded even the most effective method because here the hacker wouldn't contact with us and can even get our password very easily. When our data is stored in the internet, basically when it is stored in an encrypted form, that is our passwords, they get stored in a very peculiar manner of a code, which is only known by an internet. So if an hacker gets access to this particular code, which is stored in stored in servers and even in our computer, then he can easily apply algorithms and can get access to our password. Here is an image how a person is using a tool so that he could decrypt this particular hashed password. So all the methods I discussed above are the most used nowadays and the most effective methods of hacking. These ways are now even more easy as tools are very easily available to everyone, and the attacks like phishing is very easy to do. Therefore, it can also be your friend who can attack you and you might not know. So here I sign out. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishabh. I would now request the judges to take over.
Rishabh,
Yes, sir.
very nice presentation. Now, my one question,
Yes, sir.
that tell me about the cybercrime against individual. Cybercrime against
sir.
individual. What are the examples are there under this?
Against individual.
Yes. What cybercrimes are taken over nowadays with individual person?
Sir, an individual can be affected in many ways in cybercrime as he can get attracted to a link. Basically, attackers use techniques like get this very rich this rich item in very cheap price, as we have seen past that there were iPhone scams. So a general person might be affected very severely. Companies get affected, then why can individual cannot be affected? So it gets very difficult.
Okay, okay. Then cyber harassment is a cyber crime. Is it cyber harassment?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. You told about there's some algorithm. What is algorithm?
Sir, algorithms are basically methods that are used in particular tools which help us to learn hacking. Even the operating systems like Kali Linux and Paratois, they have these algorithms so that we can use to get into the password. So I was discussing about it.
Algorithm is used for hacking or any other process we are using? Algorithm,
Yes,
only hacking it is used.
Yes, no, sir. Algorithms are used for various purposes, but I was discussing about how it is used in hacking.
Okay, okay, okay. Very good. Madam, please.
Rishabh,
Yes, ma'am.
you nicely presented your topic. Now, question is here. Are we safe when we go for any private browsing or anonymous browsing?
No, ma'am, we are not safe. But if we don't take particular measures, then we are not safe.
But it is recommended if it is used so that our IP address cannot be tracked.
Yes, ma'am. If we use VPN instead of using our general networks, then we can the IP address can be affected. Our IP address can be affected. And also, if we
is it
no,
safe?
ma'am, about as you are saying, it is safe or not. If we use particular measures, then it is safe. But I don't think that it is right to actually anonymously browse anything.
Okay. So, can you difference between cyber troll, cyberbullying?
Cyber troll and cyberbullying.
Yes.
Ma'am, I don't think any major difference between that because both are interconnected.
Okay. Suppose using that anonymous browsing, we can also send some offenses, insult, harassment, so some category of persons. So how can we identify those category of persons? Because using that process, IP address cannot be tracked.
Ma'am, we can identify as what are they doing to us. Means if they are blackmailing us on the internet, and also if they are sending us various kinds of links and various kinds of emails, then we can easily say that they are the ones who can attack us. Generally, that is only done.
Thank you. Thank you, Rishi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rishabh. That was very comprehensive and a much need in today's time. Moving on, our next participant also comes from 11F. Please welcome Bibhudat Khuntia with his presentation on the topic cybercrime.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you're both audible as well as visible.
Okay. Is my presentation visible?
Yes, Vibhu, your presentation is also visible.
Okay, so I'll start the presentation now. Good afternoon, everybody. Honorable Principal Ma'am, honorable judges, all the respectable teachers and supervisors, and my dearest friends. I am Bibhudat Khuntia of class 11, section F. It is both my pleasure and privilege to take part in the seminar on cybersecurity, cyber society, laws and ethics, a subject which I'm very passionate about. I'm happy to put forth my presentation on the subtopic of cybercrime. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, cybercrime, also called computer crime, is the use of a computer as an instrument to further illegal ends, such as committing fraud, stealing intellectual property, stealing identities, or violating privacy. So this gives us an idea of what cybercrime truly means. So now we can go on to find out the history of this special category of crime and its development through the years. The first major wave of cybercrime came with the proliferation of email during the late 80s. It allowed for a host of scams and or malware to be delivered to your inbox. Popular examples include the Nigerian prince scam. Malicious hacking started in the 1970s when early computerized phone systems became a target. The first recorded cybercrime took place in 1820. The first spam email was seen in 1976 when it was sent out over ARPANET, which was the predecessor of the modern day internet. The first ever computer virus was installed on an Apple computer in 1982 by a high school student, a 15-year-old boy named Rich Skrenta, known today as the creator of the search engine Black. It was a boot sector virus that infected Apple version 2 computers. In August 2013, a hacker group hacked Yahoo databases. Yahoo announced that the estimated number of user accounts exposed was 3 billion, making it the largest data breach of all time. So now that we have unearthed the history of cybercrime, we shall proceed to the present scenario of cybercrime and start by looking at the most prevalent types of cybercrime in today's world. Hacking. It is an illegal intrusion on info of a computer system and or network. It is also known as cracking. Government websites are the hot target of the hackers. Motives behind hacking include greed for power, publicity, revenge, phishing. Phishing is a type of social engineering attack often used to steal user data, including login credentials and credit card numbers. It occurs when an attacker, masquerading as a trusted entity, dupes a victim into opening an email, instant message, or text message. The recipient is then tricked into clicking a malicious link, which can lead to the installation of malware, freezing the system as part of a ransomware attack, or the revealing of sensitive information. Next, denial of service or DOS attacks. This is an act by the criminals who flood the bandwidth of the victim's network, depriving him or her of the service he is entitled to access or provide. A distributed denial of service attack or DDoS attack is a malicious attempt to disrupt normal traffic for a targeted server, service, or network by overwhelming the target or its surrounding infrastructure with a flood of internet traffic. Software piracy. It is a theft of software through the illegal copying of genuine programs or the counterfeiting and distribution of products intended to pass for the original. Popular types of software that have the risk of being pirated the most are utility software like WinRAR operating systems like Windows, and games like Call of Duty and Counter-Strike. We shall now look at methods to prevent ourselves and those near us from falling victim to such crimes. Firstly, we shall be acquainted with cybersecurity. Mitigation of cybercrime, that is cybersecurity, involves protection of sensitive personal and business information, prevention, detection, and response to different online attacks. Cybersecurity is practical and crucial in actually preventing the attacks. So these are the various methods through which we can protect ourselves in cyberspace. 1. Always read the privacy policy. Some software applications are made for malicious collection of your data, which it sells to third-party companies for profit. To prevent any undesirable collection of your private data, always read privacy policies available to each software you use and decline or accept accordingly. 2. Keep software up to date. Software applications are always updated regularly to strengthen its defenses against malicious and phony attacks. To keep your computer safe, you should regularly update all your software on your desktop and laptop computer and mobile devices. 3. Use antivirus software. Antivirus software is the best bet to keep all your devices protected around the clock. Always give a preference to paid antiviruses, as free antivirus software has limited functionality and sometimes it is just hidden malware, defeating the purpose of installing an antivirus in the first place. 4. Insert firewalls. A firewall is a network security device that monitors incoming and outgoing network traffic and decides whether to allow or block specific traffic based on a defined set of security rules. Firewalls have been a first line of defense in network security for over 25 years. They establish a barrier between secured and controlled internal networks that can be trusted and untrusted outside networks such as the internet. 5. Uninstall unnecessary software. As elaborated in the first point, a lot of software collect your data for profit. Some of them also interfere with the device's functions and software to achieve its goals. So try to cut down on random applications that you have installed and only keep a bare minimum. In this way, risk assessment and management becomes far more efficient. 6. Maintain backup. Our app data and user data is the most crucial part of our online identity. The videos, documents, and pictures we have stored and downloaded can be irreplaceable in our lives. But these can easily fall prey to ransomware, so we should always keep a backup of our files in order to not lose them forever. 7. Check security settings. Even after following all the tips, the world of hacking is changing continuously. We can also occasionally fall behind on the routine checks of the health of our device. Therefore, we should continuously pay attention to the inbuilt security systems in our devices and pay close attention to the settings, judging whether they are appropriate for us or not, and then adjusting them accordingly. 8. Keep unpredictable passwords. Keeping a very simple to crack password is almost inviting danger to your own house at your own expense. We should keep passwords that are hard to crack, but which you would also find easy to remember. Never use passwords that consist of personal information like birthdays, which can be obtained elsewhere, like from social media, like Facebook. In fact, such personal information is the first case of hackers on your password. So always be vigilant regarding your passwords. 9. Be aware of spam mail. Spam email is the most popular medium for phishing attacks, which can easily compromise the security of the system. To protect ourselves from spam, we should never give out or post our email address publicly. We should be doubtful of weird or suspicious links and subject lines. We should not reply to suspicious mails, and we shall download spam filtering tools and the appropriate antivirus software. 10. Be aware of malicious links. All throughout the internet, we come across countless links and hyperlinks that seem innocuous to the naked eye, but have been planted with malicious intent. We should always avoid clicking suspicious links, buttons, and advertisements on unknown websites. Everybody shall know the benefits of using the methods mentioned in the previous slide so that they can be incentivized to take proper care of their own cyber existence. Thus, following are the various attractive benefits of managing our cybersecurity. It protects networks and data from unauthorized access. It improves information security and business continuity management. It improves stakeholder confidence in your information security arrangements. It also improves company credentials with the correct security controls in place. And it also provides faster recovery times in the event of a breach. So we shall discuss some online resources against cybercrime. The website cybercrime.gov.in is an online Indian. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but your time's up.
Okay, let me wrap it up quick then.
Yes.
It is an online Indian government website that the Indian public can utilize to address their grievances regarding their cybersecurity and battle cybercrime from their homes. These pictures show how a citizen can report cybercrime anonymously, how they can volunteer for helping the government curb cybercrime, and shows the available resources on cyber safety and awareness. In conclusion, in today's world where computers are at the forefront of progress, we can't ignore the risk of the misuse of these blessings of technology for malicious interests. We've all been exposed to cybercrime at some point. Hence, we should have the knowledge to steer away from harm's way and keep ourselves safe in this increasingly digitalized world. I hope my efforts into making this presentation have not been in vain. I am grateful to all of you for patiently sitting through this brief presentation. Thank you very much.
I would now request the judges to kindly take over the platform.
Vibhudatta,
Yes, sir.
very good expression. But
you, sir.
now I am having some doubt that you told one word, that a boot sector virus. What is
Yes,
the boot
sir.
sector virus? Or it
A
is
boot
affected?
sector virus, basically it hacks the BIOS of a computer, so it prevents the computer from booting in the first place, and it can force the users of the computer to pay ransom or take drastic measures to get the computer back to normal condition.
Can you tell me about the cybercrime against government? What cybercrime is going on now against government? What is that?
Government has a lot of useful information regarding a lot of sectors. Hackers do is that sometimes for purposes of adventure or because they've been paid by some suspicious organizations, they hack into government servers to get this personal information for either their own excitement, to for their own enjoyment, or to further the illegal intentions of the people that paid them.
Can you give me an example of a utility software? What we are using?
Utility software includes software that is made purposefully for a specific purpose, like WinRAR, which uses compression and decompression to store files in a better and more efficient manner. And another utility software is also word processing software that we can use to create documents.
So last question, can you give some tips how to prevent cybercrime?
So the best tip is to install a trustworthy antivirus. 3 of the most popular antiviruses in today's world include QuickHeal, Kaspersky, and McAfee. We can also use other antivirus softwares, and these softwares will help us because they have so much functionality. They can help us while we are offline and while we are online. Because let's be honest, cybercrime doesn't only happen when you're online. A lot of times when we go to unknown websites, spyware and other softwares that can work on our computer even while we're not connected to the internet. And also we should insert trustworthy firewalls. Sometimes it is inbuilt to take care of cybercrime, and we should also be vigilant of the various developments happening in the world of hacking.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Thanks.
Madam, please.
Vibhudatta, thanks for your brilliant presentation here. So here my query is that you said about the hackers. So are there any difference between hackers and crackers? Are they same?
Hackers, basically, it is a broad term that includes a lot of people that hack for various reasons. Some of them hack for money, some of them hack for enjoyment, and they hack through different methodologies. While crackers, they basically get involved in cracking, as the name suggests. Cracking is basically decoding encrypted codes, encrypted data, like cracking of a game, where the company will create a game, and when it gives the package to the user, the data of the game will be in a cracked version, in an encrypted version, so that the user cannot copy and cannot get involved in piracy.
Okay, out of this, anyone is ethical and next one is unethical, or both are unethical?
Hacking can be sometimes ethical, as there are a lot of white hat hackers that hack a system basically to expose the security vulnerabilities, and sometimes companies themselves hire white hat hackers to improve their systems. Crackers, basically, they're mostly unethically, they do it because they cannot, because they have such intentions, have malicious intentions.
What are scams?
Scam is basically, can you repeat the question?
Scams, what are scams?
Can you explain the question? I couldn't understand.
What are scams? SCAMS, scams.
No, I understood, but means which kind of scam are you talking about?
Any kind of scam. What is that actually?
Scam is basically when the people who are targeted are duped and given false information so as to win their confidence, and like for example a pyramid scheme where it is given that the more people you invite, the more money you will get.
I
So
think it's a process of losing money.
Ma'am, what?
It is a process of losing money.
It's most definitely it is a process of losing money. A lot of scams definitely dupe.
Spam is different, scam is different.
And what?
I talk about spam is different, scam is different. I talk about scam.
No, spam. I was talking about scam only, ma'am. Scam basically they work on confidence, on winning people's confidence.
My next question is how cyber safety improves business continuity management.
The smart use of firewalls by the business and antivirus software, what it does is, because when a business is working, attack by a hacker can completely disrupt all of the processing of the business, because a lot of business nowadays happens through computers. So computers are a very sensitive part of a business. So business continuity definitely means that the business will continue working as it is. So firewalls, antivirus, and a lot of other anti-cybercrime softwares will definitely help businesses in doing business continuity management.
Very good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Vibhudat, for such an informative and well-presented presentation. Our next participant has come prepared with his presentation on cyber safety. Please give it up for Saithiman Patnaik from 11C. Saithiman, the floor is all yours now.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected principal ma'am, supervisors, judges, teachers, and all my dear friends. I'm Saithiman Patnaik from class 11, section C, and today I'm going to present my prepared presentation on the topic cyber society, law, and ethics. My chosen subtopic is cyber safety. So let's start. In this age of internet has made our lives very convenient and easy. From interacting with our friends on social media to ordering our favorite stuff from Amazon by making easy payments. Internet is quite useful, but as a coin has two sides, internet has its own pros and cons too. Internet is a public domain and millions of people use it at the same time. Hence, we need to be very careful and alert while using internet. What is cyber safety? Cyber safety is a concept which means being secure online. It refers to the safe and responsible use of internet to ensure safety and security of personal information and not posing threat to anyone else's information. We need to be careful while using internet because if we fail to do so, then our personal information might be at threat and we may be a victim of identity theft. So now let us understand what is identity theft. Identity theft is a kind of fraud which happens by stealing someone else's identity to gain some benefits or to commit some illegal activities. The major forms of identity theft are financial identity theft, medical identity theft, and financial identity theft, medical identity theft, and credit card frauds, medical frauds. So this pie chart shows the dominant forms of identity theft that is happening these days. So now let us understand the ways website trackers, because prevention is better than cure, and to prevent something, we need to know about the things beforehand. So the first way is IP address. IP address is a unique address of a device from which a website can determine your rough geographical location. It is a unique identifier and a numerical label. So it is very unique and your location can be tracked easily. The next one is cookies and tracking scripts. Cookies are the informations that are stored by the website. So these cookies can enhance our browsing experience, but at times it can be very dangerous. Two types of cookies, that is first-party cookies and third-party cookies. The first-party cookies store our information such as login IDs, passwords, and the third-party cookies store our web history, browser history, etc. The next one is HTTP referrer. I want to explain this by giving an example. If we click on an ad on a website, then we get redirected to a new web page. So now the old web page shares certain information to the new one, such as our IP address, device type, and browser type to the new web page. If this information is shared to some unsafe web browsers or websites, then it can be very harmful for us. Then the next one is super cookies. Super cookies are also cookies, but they're also known as persistent cookies because they store the cookie data in multiple places and locations. So if we delete the cookie data from one place, then they can repopulate and get back to the previous location. So the next one is user agent. The browser sends a user agent every time we connect to a website. This user agent actually tells the website about our browser, operating system, IP address, and other types of information, and it can be very harmful at times. So the major solution to all these problems is anonymous or private browsing. So now let us understand what is anonymous or private browsing. Anonymous browsing is a type of browsing in which you can browse freely without revealing your information such as IP address, machine type, location, etc. There are many anonymous browsers such as Tor browser, DuckDuckGo browsers, etc. It can be used by the government, journalists, and everyday security conscious searchers. Then the next one is private browsing. Private browsing is a type of browsing in which when we browse, it does not store our online cookie activity or our online web history. So it can be categorized into three types, that is incognito browsing, proxy, and virtual private network. Incognito browsing is basically a browsing in which our web history is not stored. Proxy acts as a middleman between the computer and the website. So, for example, if a website tries to track us, then it will get the IP address of the proxy and not our original IP address. Then the next one is virtual private network. Virtual private network actually allows us to access a website through a private network without getting tracked. So there are certain practices to ensure confidentiality of information. So now we should learn about them. Use firewall wherever possible. Control browser settings to block tracking. We should block the cookie settings in our browsers. Browse privately wherever possible. As I explained earlier, private browsing is very useful. So we should use private browsing wherever possible. We should be careful while posting on internet. We should not post our sensitive data such as passwords or login IDs. Then the next one is we should ensure safe sites while entering crucial information. These days, there are many fake websites that can track our very sensitive data. So we should first ensure whether the sites are safe or not. We should carefully handle emails because many of the spam emails often contain virus which can harm our devices. The next one is do not give sensitive information on wireless networks. Avoid using public computers because they're used by many and its security standard is very less. So these days, not everyone possesses a computer, but everyone does possess a mobile phone, and internet safety in mobile phones is very important as well. So let us now know how to secure internet safety in mobile phones. Beware of the software you install. Please install the softwares from trusted sites. Do not open suspicious URLs. These days, we receive many WhatsApp forwards which contains links and URLs. So we should first confirm whether they are safe or not and then open it. Do not use modified smartphones or electronic devices. Actually, modified smartphones refers to the routing of the devices, which actually gives access to the software code.
Sai, I would request you to wind up because your time's already up.
Yes, just a minute. So we should, next point, set pins, face recognition, fingerprint for device unblock. Avoid using free Wi-Fi networks. Clean your device at regular intervals. cyber safety is the need of hour, and we should always keep these points in our mind while doing that, because that can only secure our web browsing experience. With this, I would like to conclude and thank everyone for your patience. Thank you.
I would request the judges to take over the platform. Judges, please.
Sai, very nice presentation. Okay. So you told about the URL. What is the full form of a URL? Full form of a URL.
Actually, I can't recall right now.
Okay. What are types of URL? Different types of URL?
Yes, sir. URL and links such as www.
No, how many types are there? What are those?
No, sir, I don't exactly.
One is absolute, one is relative. Okay, remember it. Uniform resource locator. URL means uniform resource locator. Right? Okay. So you told that a Wi-Fi is not our, while you are sending the information, Wi-Fi is not secure. Why?
Sir, actually, I meant public Wi-Fi's, because in that the users may be very unsafe, the provider may be unsafe, and they can trap our data. For example, if you are doing a transaction on that public Wi-Fi, then they may trap some important information such as bank ID or CVV. Can cause some problem for us.
That IP address, can you change? Our IP address of our system, can you change, or it is already fixed?
So we can change with the use of, we can actually hide it or have a different IP address with the use of proxy or VPN. We can have a different IP address.
What is VPN?
Sir, virtual private network. It actually gives access to different websites through a private network.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Saidiman. Thank you for your fantastic presentation here.
Okay,
so just tell me, IP address is a logical address or a physical address?
no, ma'am, I don't have any idea about that.
It's a logical address. Okay. So can you tell me the shortcut key for going through incognito browsing?
Shortcut key for incognito browsing. No, ma'am, I don't have any idea about that one, sir.
Okay. Work on it. Okay. Next is, as you talk about anonymous browsing, my question is here. So anyone can use that anonymous browsing for giving insults or harassment to some other category of persons. So in that case, how can we identify those criminals doing such type of offenses? Any way is there?
Ma'am, actually, anonymous browsing is not actually very secure. It can be tracked using our internet providers. They actually have the information. They can track the information. So it's not very secure.
So actually, if we face this type of problem, then who we have to register a complaint?
And there are many government sites for cyber crime. We can register there.
Can you name some sites?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Indeed, prevention is always better than cure. Thank you, Saidhiman. It's always better to be on the safer side. Moving on, our next participant also joins us from 11C, presenting on the subtopic cyber safety. Please give it up for Asim Saurabh. Asim, please.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Just a second. Yeah, it's visible.
Asim, it's visible.
Good afternoon, one and all present on this platform, respected judges, teachers, and my dear friends. I am Asim Saurabh from 11C, going to speak on cyber safety. Before we get into this topic in detail, let's understand the meaning of this vast term. Well, it is the knowledge of maximizing the user's personal safety and security on private information and property associated with using the internet. It not only means to safeguard ourselves, rather, it also means not to pose any threat to others. Now, here's a question for you all. Why do we need to be aware about cyber safety? Simple. That's because there is the risk of cybercrime that endangers the information or data stored on our PCs or smartphones. Can you say who is this guy in black? Exactly. He's a hacker. He can hack into our devices to fetch his desirable data, inject viruses, or even take control over them. Now let's have a look over another important term here. It's called network security. This consists of the policies adopted to prevent and monitor authorized access, misuse, modification, or denial of a computer network and network accessible resources. It can be private or public. Private means it is within a certain circle, such as a company, for instance, whereas public means that it can be accessed by anyone on the web. Network security just secures the network by protecting and monitoring the activities done over the internet. It starts with the authenticating with a username and a password. The firewall now checks activities and services that are permitted or accessible by the users. Communication between linked users on a given network is generally encrypted for privacy. Of course, security management for different networks is different and is based on the situation. For example, it depends on the use, location, and several other factors. The network security in case of our school and that of NASA, Pentagon, or STF differ from each other. See, this is what happens here. The network is surrounded by a firewall. So when some remote user tries to obtain data from that network, he or she has to connect to the internet using the router and access the associated server. Then the firewall will focus and check on the outsider. Next, we will learn about vulnerability. It refers to the probability of resistance against a cyber attack. It takes into account the degree of protection, the access to content in discussion, and the attacker's capability to exploit. This is simply a practice in order to estimate the chance of theft or exploitation. You can use an antivirus to check the vulnerability of your computer system. This diagram shows how an attacker injects a malicious script to get a specific data infected. The injected malicious script starts to function when some user requests the data from the server. Therefore, always be careful when you go online. Remember to think before clicking, as the site may be malicious or contain viruses. Know that viruses and malware spread quite easily through simply clicking on links or opening attachments in emails. All right, now let's learn about cookies. What? A cookie? No, not this one. Well, we are going to talk about HTTP cookie here. HTTP cookie. It's a small piece of data sent from a website and stored in the user's web browser while browsing it. Note that every time the user loads the website, the browser sends the cookie back to the server to notify the user's previous activity. These were designed to be an editable mechanism for websites to remember stateful information. They store passwords, previously entered content like credit card number, address, or name. You must have noticed this while filling online forms. These are called first-party cookies. Similarly, there are third-party cookies, and those are called tracking cookies. They are used to compile browsing history. Cookies are basically encrypted data. However, they may be read by the hackers to gain access to user data. This depends on the strength of the specific cookie. We got to know about the security methods over the internet network. Now let's learn about the security methods to protect local data. The first thing is to be careful to hide our true identities on websites that are not trusted or legit. Be careful not to share important personal details like passwords or date of birth, etc. Beware of identity theft, a type of fraud where someone uses your identity to steal money or gain other benefits. Beware of cyberbullying, especially on social medias like Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp. Always try to keep your identity anonymous on web unless it's some trusted site. Prefer browsing incognito or in private if the device is shared by others. Remember that whenever we visit any website, it always stores some information such as our IP address or even the device we use to visit the specific website. They serve as the evidence to track the whereabouts or identity of people who commit cybercrime. Tracking is done to trace and capture illegal actions committed over the internet, such as hacking, theft, stealing documents of national importance, etc. Here we come across two new terms, HTTP referrer and IP address. Now what are these? Well, whenever you open any link, your browser tells the website where you came from. This is called an HTTP referrer. An IP address is a unique address of your device when you connect to the web. For example, look at the image next to it. Let's say this number is your IP address. As illustrated, the numerals in green represent the network address, whereas the numeral in blue is the host address. This IP address can reveal your rough geographical location by determining the city, zip code, or area code. This helps in tracking and pinpointing the cybercrime incidents. Whenever we do any activity, we always leave behind some evidence. Similarly, when we carry out any online activity, we leave behind some permanent unerasable evidence that can be used for tracking. This is coined as digital footprints.
Awesome.
While using social, yes, ma'am.
Kindly conclude. Your time's already up.
Yeah, let me wind up. While using social media, it's always better to use our privacy settings to keep away from cyberbullying and unwanted strangers. Using privacy settings, we can check who all can see our posts or chats, who all can send us friend requests, what information about us will be visible to others. We can even block or ban strangers to maintain a safe friend circle on the web. Now, here are some safety tips to prevent ourselves from becoming a victim of cybercrime. Use strong passwords, use secure connection, avoid sending any photograph online, particularly to strangers. Never send your credit card or debit card or ATM PIN number to any site that is not secured and or legit. Use antivirus software like Avast, McAfee, or Norton and keep them up to date. Install firewalls and pop-up blockers. Maintain backup. Open attachments carefully. Keep your personal information private. Be careful of untrusted third-party sites. Always trust official sites. Don't spread false rumors or get affected by them without complete proof. Following these tips will be helpful to reduce your risks against cyber attacks. Never forget, prevention is better than cure. Due to increased threat and risk on cybercrime in the early 21st century, the government of India has enacted several cyber laws. The IT Act of 2000 and the IT Amendment Act of 2008 are the major ones. The purpose behind the IT Act of 2000 was to legally recognize e-commerce and facilitate maintenance of electronic records with the government. This was further amended in 2008 and otherwise called the IT Amendment Act, which installed new sections on offenses such as cyber terrorism and data protection. Later, a set of rules related to sensitive personal information and reasonable security practices was released in April 2011. Okay, that's all. Thank you everyone for your patient hearing. Hope you all will adopt cyber safety every time you are online. Stay home, stay safe.
I request all the participants to kindly abide by the time limit, and I would request the judges to kindly take over the platform to ask their questions.
Asim?
Yeah.
Yes, my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
Can you show me the slide number 7? Okay. Slide number 7.
Yeah, this one. Is it visible?
No, it is not visible.
Oh, just a minute. Yeah, now is it visible?
Yes, now coming. Slide number 7.
This is slide number 7.
Yes, just coming. 7. No, it's next. I think where you have given IP address. Where you have given that page.
Yeah, this one.
Okay, 192.168.1.2. These numbers are up to how much number we can use, or it is we can use 392 for this IP address. Is it possible?
No, I don't think so.
How much maximum?
Maximum is I think it's 192 only.
Okay. So what is the third party cookies?
So they're tracking cookies. They're used by famous organizations to track the activities that we commit over websites that we visit online.
Can you suggest me about that data leakage? What are the data leakage?
Yeah, when we are storing any piece of data on our computer system, let's say laptop, mobile or smartphone, anything, there is a vulnerability chance where our stored data may be leaked to strangers or especially hackers who hack into our system.
It is done accidentally or by knowingly you are doing this one?
It is done accidentally mostly.
Most of things accidentally.
Sometimes we fall in traps sent by sent through attachments in emails or through hackers.
Okay. Oh, that what is router? Router? Why it is used?
Router is a device that we use to connect to online.
Connect with it?
It is a device that lets us use the internet.
Okay. 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 Madam, please.
Okay.
First, madam.
Same for your wonderful presentation, yeah.
Thank you.
I think one thing you talk about first party cookies and third party cookies.
Yes,
so out of these two, which are more vulnerable?
Mostly first party cookies.
First party. Why so?
Because it stores our information, and those information can be leaked to any hackers or someone who is trying to obtain our data. But third party cookies are used by organizations to specifically for tracking cybercrime incidents.
They also keep our data, also they can also steal our information.
But that is ethical.
It's ethical.
Yes.
And one more question here. We sub internet for a variety of reasons. We can say that we cannot thought of a day without using internet.
Yeah.
At the same time, there may be lots of risks. So anyone can be a victim. Imagine we are a victim. Then to whom we have to register our complaint.
We can register with cybercrime organizations, like let's say we can register from in police station or in websites like cybercrime.gov.in. Or
if we are registering a complaint to police station, so we have to register in the same city where the crime has been committed.
Yeah, no, we can do it in any area we are residing or something.
Any area.
Yeah. We have to register it with the IT department of that police station.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. With this, I sign out.
Thank you, Asim, for sharing your insight. Your presentation was really very interactive. Next up, we have yet another student joining us from 11C, presenting on cyber safety. Please welcome Jasmine Mahapatra.
Am I visible and audible?
Yes, you're both visible and audible.
Thank you. Technology trust is a good thing, but control is a better one. Good afternoon to one and all present over here. I, Jasmine Mahapatra of class 11C, is now going to do a presentation on cyber safety. After USA and China, India has the largest number of internet users. Today, cyber attacks are no longer stopped by antivirus softwares or firewalls. The risk of cyber attacks is constantly increasing, and especially for institutions and companies, it is no longer a question of if it will happen, but rather when. So for the safety of our information or data, cyber safety is important. Would you leave your door open at home? No, we would never do that. So likewise, we should always log out of our computer and try to keep our stuff safe. A Clark School study at the University of Maryland reveals us that on an average, there is a hacker attack every 39 seconds. Well, it's shocking, isn't it? What is cybersecurity? Cyber safety refers to the safe and responsible use of internet so as to ensure safety and security of personal information and not posing threat to anyone else's information. Nowadays, working on web has become inevitable, and thus it's very important to be aware of the threats it offers. Safe browsing on web needs us to know what are the possible dangers we are going to face, how to avoid these dangers, and how to virtually conduct ourselves while browsing the web. Hence, we need to know that not every site is safe to visit. Whatever we post or do online is visible to others, and not everything that we see or is promised online is true. There are some specific rules and regulations as well as unknown dangers you need to be aware of to conduct ourselves online. Then comes the question, why is cybersecurity important? Cybersecurity is important because it encompasses everything that relates to protecting our data from cyber attackers who want to steal the information and use it to cause harm. This can be sensitive data, governmental and industrial information, intellectual property, personally identifiable information, etc. Having advanced cyber defense programs and mechanisms in place to protect this data is crucial and in everyone's best interest. We need these to keep our society running. At an individual level, cybersecurity attacks can lead to identity theft and extortion attempts, which can do serious damage to that of an individual's life. We all rely on the safety of our data and personal information. For example, when logging into an application or when filling in more sensitive data in digital healthcare system, if these systems, networks, and infrastructures don't have the right protection in place, our data might fall into the wrong hands. In this sense, we are talking about protection in the form of technologies and policies. Exposure of this sensitive information in many cases can be harmful to citizen trust in institutions, to business competitiveness, personal consumer trust in companies. This is something that may confuse many of us. That is there a difference between cybersecurity and information security? These two words, cybersecurity and information security, are generally used as synonyms in security terminology and create a lot of confusion. Cybersecurity is all about protecting data that is found in electronic form from being compromised or attacked, whereas information security is a protection of information and information systems from unauthorized access, use, disruption, modification, or destruction in order to provide confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Through these Venn diagrams, we would be able to understand it more clearly. Here we can see that there is cybersecurity and information security. In cybersecurity, it includes all the things that are vulnerable through ICT. Information and communication technology. It includes information as well as other things in information. The information includes digital as well as physical information, whereas other things and information could include information regarding cars, electronic appliances, etc. Whereas in information security, it includes digital information and analog information. Analog information connects the physical world to the digital world. It represents the data stored in form of physical ways. But though they both are different, they have a common thing, that is the digital information. There is a physical security component to both cybersecurity and information security, that is the digital information. They both take the value of the data into consideration. Identity protection. We serve the internet for a variety of reasons, from using social media, buying and selling goods, to sending information. When you give out private data to business and other internet users, such as while filling up some forms or making payments online, we trust them to use that information for legitimate purposes. This isn't always the case too. And financial and personal data can be used for harmful reasons like hacking, stalking, and identity fraud. Identity fraud is a type of fraud that involves stealing someone else's identity or getting access to someone else's identity and try to commit fraudulent acts by posing as the other person with the help of the stolen identity. Most common solution to this problem is private browsing or anonymous browsing on the internet. Anonymous browsing. It refers to the utilization of the World Wide Web that hides the user's personality, identifiable information from websites visited. Anonymous browsers allow users to view websites without revealing any information of the user, like the IP address, location, etc. Now we come to private browsing. What is private browsing? A type of browsing wherein browser opens in incognito mode or through proxy or VPN and does not store cookies about your online activity is called private browsing. The ways to use the internet without revealing your search history and sharing the data are: incognito browsing opens up a version of the browser that will not track your activity. This is also essential or helpful where we are including any sensitive data or personal information, and hence it minimizes the risk of those data getting saved in the computer. It can also help us in when you're searching for any buying gifts for our family members without leaving any clues, or when we are trying to filling up examinations, forms, etc. You may also use private browsers and search engines like DuckDuckGo. Proxy. Proxy works by acting as a middleman between your computer and the website you want to access. Now the tracking website will get the IP address and information that belong.
You've exhausted your time limit. Kindly conclude.
Okay. I'm winding up. That belongs to the proxy side, that we're effectively getting the same content from another source without it getting to know your browser details. Virtual private network or VPN is a method used to add security and privacy to private networks like Wi-Fi hotspots and the internet.
Now, can websites ever track you? Whenever we visit a website, our web browser may reveal your location via device IP address and can provide a search and browsing history, which may be used by third parties like advertisers or criminals. The information that trackers use to track you generally includes IP address. From your IP address, a website can determine your rough geographical location. Then cookies and tracking scripts. Cookies are small pieces of information related to your online habits that websites can store in your browser. There are first-party cookies and third-party cookies. An HTTP referrer. When you click a link, your browser leads the web page link to it and tells the website where you came from. Then super cookies. Super cookies are also cookies, but these are persistent cookies. That is, they come back even after you delete them. User agent. Your browser also sends a user agent every time you connect to a website. Confidentiality of information. Mostly internet is a public platform, and confidentiality of information ensures that only authorized users get access to sensitive and protective data. How can we ensure it? We should use firewalls whenever possible. Your system must be secured such that only authentic users can connect to it. Control browser settings to block tracking. Browse privately whenever possible to avoid tracking by websites. Be careful while posting on internet. Ensure safe sites while entering crucial information, and be aware that HTTPS in a URL means it's a secure connection and no one can see your private information. When there is no HTTPS or the URL contains only HTTP, it's an insecure connection, which means your private information may get leaked. Carefully handle emails. Do not give sensitive information on wireless networks. Avoid using public computers. Try not to use a public computer, especially if you have to deal with your crucial data. But if you need to work on a public computer, then make sure of the following things. First of all, browse privately and don't save your login information. Never save passwords while working on a public computer. Don't leave the computer unattended with sensitive information on the screen. Disable the feature that stores password and erase history and traces of your work. Properly log out before you even leave the computer. Digital freedom stops where that of users begins. Nowadays, digital information must no longer be offered to a customer and trade-off between privacy and security. Privacy is not for sale, a valuable asset to protect. Thank you.
I would now request the judges to kindly take over.
Jasmine, very nice presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. You told about that PTI and PHI. What is that one? PTI and PHI.
So PTI is a PHI is a protected health information, and PTI is personally identifiable information. That is regarding our personal information, that may be related to identity, whereas PHI is regarding our health information, regarding where we have any health details regarding to it.
Okay. And about the proxy server, how the proxy server is working? Proxy server, you told about that one. How it is working?
Proxy works by acting as a middleman there. That when we're using the proxy, the tracking website will get the IP address and the information that belongs to the proxy, but it will not be able to track our IP address or any information related to it, and it will be able to protect us from tracking our IP address.
Okay. What is stalking?
Sorry, sir.
Stalking.
Stalking means when someone is trying to collect your information by looking over you, means particularly or disturbing you through any messages or information, and regularly he or she would be sending any messages, or kind of cyberbullying would be that.
Okay. Very good. Very nice presentation. Okay. How's madam? Please carry on.
Jasmine, thank you for a wonderful presentation here. So
thank you,
from my side, the question is that how computer forensics are going to provide the digital evidences?
Sorry, ma'am, can you repeat the question?
How computer forensics are going to provide the digital evidences, the cyber safety?
We can provide digital evidences by keeping the data or information that we have been, if we are cyber bullied or something, then we can take the information and save it so that we can later on show the evidences that this had happened to us.
Okay. Next question is, suppose I am giving a situation here. Suppose a teacher is taking an online class through Zoom platform. An outsider joins the room in the name of one of the students belongs to that class and started sending offensive messages in the chat box. And the teachers failed to identify that outsider since he or she has not joined through his or her registered mail ID. As a result, the students get scared to join the classes. So here, this is a part of cybercrime?
Yes, ma'am. It will also include because this is.
Yes, you continue.
Ma'am, because it is we are sending offensive messages. It will be also part of cyberbullying, as it is not in the protocol that we should enter someone's other classes and try to create disturbance there.
It will be a cyberbullying or cyber trolling or stalking. It comes under which category?
I can't say regarding that properly. If it's cyberbullying or cyber trolling.
Okay, fine. Okay, let it be. Now see, now the school doesn't want to change the platform. And can you suggest to resolve this kind of problem so that the class can be conducted smoothly?
Ma'am, there are many options in Zoom where we can like block the user from again coming, or we can remove it, or we can report it that person has been causing disturbances.
Suppose it is a free version. We are not going for a paid version. Suppose it is a free version. So any solution is there? Can we report this to Cyber Act?
Yes, ma'am, we can report it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Jasmine, for your impeccable performance. Our next participant also joins us from 11C, and he's presenting on the topic e-waste management. Let us all hear it from Ashish Kumar Patra. Ashish, please.
Am I audible?
You're audible and you're visible.
Okay, let's start. Refuse what you do not need, reduce what you do need, reuse what you consume, recycle what you cannot refuse, reduce, or reuse, and compost the rest. This phrase by B. Johnson introduces us to a new topic of e-waste management. Good morning to everyone present over here. The respected principal ma'am, honorable judges, knowledgeable supervisors and teachers, and my dear friends. Today I'm going to introduce you to a topic we aren't so aware of, but it is now cementing itself as an undeniable issue of the hour. So without any further ado, let's get into our topic. First, let's get introduced ourselves to e-waste. E-waste, electronic waste, e-scrap or waste electrical and electronic equipment. This comprises the electronic products that are no longer useful to us. This includes used electronics which are destined for reuse, resale, recycling or disposal. Of all the different types of e-waste, e-waste has three characteristics to itself. It is the fastest growing segment of waste. It is the most valuable due to its basic composition, and it is very hazardous if not handled carefully. E-waste management has become a significant problem due to the technical process we have gained in the last century. So now let's get and understand what does this e-waste gets composed of. E-waste is categorized as an hazardous waste by the Government of India. It is mostly made up of metal and plastic components, but also contains small amount of heavy metals and substances of concern. The e-waste and electrical and electronic equipment contains metallic and non-metallic elements, alloys and compounds such as copper, aluminium, silver, palladium, platinum, etc. The wide variety of e-waste makes it hard to generalize the material content. For example, fridges and ACs in particular contain refrigerants to enable cooling to take place. But these refrigerants may also contribute to ozone layer depletion or climate change. Now, there are some few processes which lead to e-waste disposal. For the first two of them include dismantling and segregation of ferrous metal, non-ferrous metal, and plastic. The e-waste dismantling process is a mix of reuse and recycling of e-waste through a mix of manual and automated process, bringing about zero environmental impact and maximizing value from the process of e-waste disposal. This includes chlorofluorocarbons, mercury switches, and printed circuit boards of computers. The second process includes the segregation of ferrous metal, non-ferrous metal, and plastic. Scrap metal, both ferrous and non-ferrous, present in industrial waste, smelter byproducts, sludges, and refinery sweepings, etc., can be reclaimed in most instances at profit and thus are made available for reuse in industry. Very substantial stockpiles of these scrap metal waste are available for processing in the various industrial areas. This separation is normally done in a shredder process. The next three methods include refurbishment and reuse of e-waste, recycling and recovery of valuable materials from e-waste, and treatment and disposal of dangerous materials and waste. Refurbishment and reuse of e-waste has potential for those used electrical and electronic equipments which can be easily refurbished to put to its original use. Refurbishing is better than for the environment because even effective recycling processes produce some waste. Because many materials cannot be recycled indefinitely, eventually much e-waste becomes completely useless to recyclers. Refurbishing, on the other hand, is effective because working components can be reused in new products almost indefinitely. An advantage of refurbishing e-waste is older components can take place of new ones without compromising the quality of newly manufactured electronics. The recycling and recovery of valuable materials. The unscientific methodology adopted for material salvaging has an extremely high environment and health hazard impact attached to it as a natural corollary to the development of recycling and recovery process and its damaging implications both on life and environment. Such method of recycling has its own limitations with respect to recovery of both metals and non-metals, which include copper, gold, silver, aluminium, iron, tin, lead, and plastics, are recovered to some extent. And at last, the treatment and disposal of dangerous materials and waste. The shredder light fraction, which generally consists of plastics, rubber, glass, sand, leather, wood, and rust and residual metals from electronics, have to be disposed of in landfill sites and sometimes have to be needed to be incinerated, which is quite expensive. Or secondly, the chlorofluorocarbons which are generated from the fridges and ACs needed to be treated thermally, whereas the printed circuit boards of the computers and mobile phones have to be incinerated or disposed of in underground landfill sites. Now, there are also many advantages of e-waste recycling. The e-waste disposal and proper recycling is very much necessary and important for the benefit of people. First of all, the first advantage it brings is it allows for recovery of valuable precious metals. Materials like copper, aluminium, gold, and zinc that can and should be recycled are significantly more costly than recycled materials for manufacturing. Second, it also protects public health and water quality. E-waste recycling provides proper handling and management of toxic chemical substances like mercury, lead, and cadmium contained in the e-waste stream. Also, it creates jobs for recycling e-waste domestically, creates jobs for professional recyclers and refurbishers, and creates new markets for the valuable components that are dismantled. E-waste is a growing waste stream, and recycling these items will also help conserve the landfill space. And at last, it can also save money because selling them for recycling, we save money, and buying recycling products also enables us to, which are less costly than the new ones. Now, along with e-waste advantages of e-waste recycling, it also comes with a few disadvantages as well. First of all, causes more pollution and energy consumption. It is contradicting, but the reality is that recycling tons of garbage will require waste to be transported, sorted, cleaned, and processed in separate factories, all of which need energy and may result in byproducts that can pollute air, water, or soil when more trucks are employed to pick up recyclable products, which can also cause air pollution. It also requires stricter and more stringent implementation because recycling can have an adverse effect on health and the environment when not done properly. Debris and toxic waste that is improperly handled can contaminate land, air, and the environment. This is why more implementation should be followed. When recycling companies abandon dump sites, waste left lying around can have environmental effect by causing soil pollution
Ashish,
and air pollution.
I'm
Yes?
sorry to interrupt, but kindly conclude. Your time is exhausted.
Yeah, just a moment. At last, good products are not guaranteed. Not all recycled items are of high quality or even safe to use. As previously mentioned, recycled products may contain toxic chemicals that are previously present with the original material. Now, let's learn about the e-waste management rules which have been followed in India. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Control had announced the e-waste management rules in 2016. These new rules replaced the earlier e-waste management and handling rules of 2011. These rules provide stricter norms with the government's increased commitment towards environmental governance. The highlights of this management rules were the rules for the first time brought producers under the ambit of EPR together with the targets. Producers have been made accountable for e-waste collection and e-waste exchange as well. Along with producers, additional stakeholders which were included were manufacturers, dealers, refurbishers, and producer responsibility organizations. This ministry rules also targeted hotels, residential colonies, bulk producers of consumer goods, ports, railway stations, airports, and pilgrimage spots, etc., to ensure that the solid waste generated in their facilities is treated and recycled. Now, there was also a web-based application on integrated waste management system was launched by this ministry in May 2016. The purpose of the web-based application is to better manage the waste. The application can also track the movement of hazardous waste and will also help in ensuring its proper management. The key highlights of this application were 30,000 industries out of 43,000 industries dealing in hazardous waste had been mapped through this application. Enhanced transparency in the working of the ministry and other center and state level regulatory bodies was ensured, and implementation of the concept of paperless and green office. At last, I would like to conclude it by saying this. The hazardous waste of e-waste is one of the rapidly growing environmental problems of the world. The ever-increasing amount of e-waste associated with lack of awareness and appropriate skill is deepening the problem. But still, this problem can be solved if we apply appropriate measures. At last, I would like to say that save the earth, save the environment. Thank you.
I would request the judges to take over the floor to ask their questions.
Ashish, very nice presentation.
Thank you, sir.
So you just told me that CFC. What is CFC?
Sir, chlorofluorocarbons.
What is that one?
Sir, it is actually an element which is usually being generated by the refrigerants as a toxic waste from ACs and fridges, and it leads to global warming.
Okay. And any law is there for universal waste law?
Yes,
Universal.
sir.
Which
Yes,
year
sir.
it was implemented?
Sir, in the 2000, as the rules were applied in 2016 in India, the e-waste management rules, in 2019, the UN body also announced these rules as their global policy to protect the environment from e-waste hazards.
Okay. Can you, cathode ray tubes, you know, cathode ray tubes?
Yes, sir.
These are hazard waste. Cathode ray tubes are there. These are hazard waste or not?
Sir, it can be considered as an environment hazard if not disposed properly.
What is that land we can ban from the landfill?
Sir, landfill.
Which is total ban for the landfill? Any idea?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. Nice presentation. Okay, madam, please carry on.
Ashish, thank you for a magnificent presentation here.
Thank you, ma'am.
What is the significance of the concept of e-waste disposal in our curriculum of class 11 computer science?
Ma'am, it teaches us specifically about how to deal with e-waste, and when we encounter such situations, how we should be acting properly so that we can give our contributions to conserve the environment.
And what is AMO, EF, and CC rules?
Ma'am, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Control, they announced these rules in 2016 as well as previously in 2011, so that the in the various manufacturing and producing industries of our country follow certain rules in disposing of in e-waste.
Very good. Excellent.
Thank you, Ashish, for your insightful and articulate presentation. We have a last participant from 11C, armored with his subtopic e-waste management. Let us all give it up for our showstopper, Jay Mishra. Jay, the floor is all yours now.
Tell me when once my screen is visible.
Your screen is visible, Jay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jay Mishra, and this is my computer science presentation of on the topic e-waste management. So before diving in the topic, I would like to clear all your misconceptions on e-waste. People tend to think e-waste is not much of a greater concern, but I am here to change your perspective on that and tell you how hazardous e-waste can be. So the term e-waste is an abbreviation of electronic waste and is termed as any discarded electrical devices. Any electrical device that you see around yourself can contribute in e-waste management. The major sources of e-waste are PC, cell phones, household electrical appliances like TV, fridge, washing machine, electrical toaster, and all those electrical stuff, and industrial machines also. People tend to think that industries buy their machines for as a fixed capital, so they last more than 10 to 15 years. And cell phones are with us for more than over a year. Household appliances are also last 3 to 4 years. So a person does not create much of an e-waste, but that's not the case. Every year, lot of e-waste is collected, as there are 7 billion people on Earth, and it's clearly evident from these pictures. As you can see, there are piles of trashes of different kinds. Some of these are recyclable and some are not. We will discuss this in the later slides. But now let me tell you how this presentation is going to change your view, and that is my main goal of this presentation, to change the perspective on how people change e-waste and to encourage them of proper managing. So here I have depicted two scenarios with the help of a chart on the current scenario and the ideal scenario which I have mentioned in the presentation. If we follow each and every step of e-waste management, I'm sure we will access the green area over here. Let me explain this chart first. Currently, we are producing 53 metric tons of e-waste annually. And with the current lack of awareness and improper implementation of rules and regulation, we'll be producing about 85 metric tons, which is very high and a very bad indication of our management of resources, and could lead to various diseases and might even cause the extinction of human species in some of the areas of the world. You might it may sound to you as ridiculous, but I am going to prove my point. But if the mentioned points in the presentation, which is after this slide, we will be producing only about 26 metric tons by 2080, and which is very feasible with the growing human technology. So mentioned earlier, now I'll discuss the harmful effects of e-waste. So e-waste are not affecting many people around the globe right now, but in the coming years, this scenario is totally going to change. There are four major players in e-waste. These elements are present in the devices: cadmium, lead, mercury, and lithium. As you can see, all the major diseases that you can name are listed. You name any disease which can cause death, or any severe disease, it can be caused from these elements. So it not only affects humans but also animals and life. From hair fall on your head to the weathering of your toenail, everything can be an effect of e-waste. So it's very important to take e-waste sincerely, and it's no joke. Now, let me revise you the need of e-waste management. As we have already discussed, this is just a revision of what we have discussed and why do we need to manage e-waste. So we have seen how harmful it is. So the first is it saves earth and conserves energy and eradicates all the above mentioned diseases and removes its possibility. Third, but not the least, protects environment and resources and allows our future generations to grow. Now, coming to the biggest question, how to solve this method? This actually seemed very impractical on how to solve these metric tons of waste, but I have formulated 7-step method. If followed, then I'm pretty sure my achieved target of that green area will be achieved by 2080. So it can be followed by simple 7 steps. Step 1 is developing an eco design device which will help create more awareness and user friendly of collecting of e-waste, though it's still there, but proper implementation is not being done in the current world. And then collection of e-waste, then segregation of e-waste into recyclable and non-recyclable. Recyclable waste are very have their own techniques developed now to recycle, but the non-recyclable proper disposing techniques must be used, forbidding the transfer of used electronics to developing countries. This is an issue most people don't take seriously because they don't understand the meaning. What happens is developing countries don't have the particular technology to deal with such e-waste management techniques. Rather, it is appreciated by the developed countries who are top performer in this field to help these countries in their managing e-waste. We will discuss this furthermore, raising awareness and on the impact of e-waste of people. This will furthermore increase the collection of e-waste, and this prosperous cycle will keep on continuing and we will be achieving our goal. Last but not the least, a national scheme such as an EPR. We will discuss this in the next slide too. Now, I will be talking about what is currently being done in the world and in India. So in India, the Indian government has revised the e-waste management rules in 2018 for facilitating effective management of e-waste. The main recommending body is CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, which also issues EPR. As we have seen EPR in the above slide too, EPR is the extended producer's responsibility. It is a certificate given by CPCB or the Indian government to producers dealing with e-waste management. It has been effective from 2017. Whereas on talking about global level, top players like USA and Taiwan with joint forces help other countries and perform various initiatives. I'm discussing two of the most valuable initiatives by them, that is AMEN and STEP initiative. AMEN is the International E-Waste Management Network, in which most of the countries around the world participate to and formulate the best possible way to managing e-waste based on their country's location and different kinds.
Jay,
And, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but your time has elapsed. Kindly conclude.
Yes, I'm about to. And the STEP initiative is also taken up by them as to solve e-waste problems in developing countries, especially Southeast Asia. The STEP, yes. So this pretty much tells us the current scenario, the origin, how hazardous e-waste can be, and I would like to conclude by telling this and move on to the question now, if any.
I would request the judges to take over.
Jay, very nice presentation.
Thank you,
Nicely you have delivered all your presentation. Now my question is, how can I recycle and dispose the electronic scrap?
So there are various methods. First of all, you must contact your local e-waste management, or you can ask your local managing bodies on how they collect the e-waste. your job is just to hand them over the e-waste, and their job is to recycle them by throwing it into landfills and taking precautionary measures.
Is it all things are landfill? We can do landfill, every items.
Could you repeat?
Is it possible that every item, electronic items, we can landfill it?
No, not every item has the same capacity of landfilling. Only some few very hazardous which cannot be recycled have must be pre-treated before landfill, and some are can directly and some can neither be landfill. They are they just even after treating they can't be landfilled.
Okay. What is EPR? EPR you have used?
Is a mandatory certificate. The full form is Extended Producer's Responsibility. As with the growth of use of electronic devices in now in our country, the government has launched this initiative. As you can see, and in the name, it is Extended Producer's Responsibility. But in the coming years, it will be a mandatory producer's responsibility, I believe.
Are you thinking that by this, after some year, will be in the good condition, or will be it will be increase?
Sir, it all depends upon the awareness of the people. Like this presentation, I am also creating awareness, and if I affect even one person and that person affects one person, then I am pretty sure we'll be moving in the right direction. And if not the case, then the wrong direction.
Okay, please carry on like this. Okay, thank you. Very nice presentation. Sasna Madam, please carry on.
Thank you, Ji, for your amazing presentation. So my question is, can you name some eco-design devices?
Sorry?
Can you name some eco-design devices?
We have to, with the growing technology, it is advised that it will be developed. It's not being currently developed. Eco devices are generally the basic and antique methods of landfilling till date, and industrial recycling of metals taking away from the some, like you must have heard this, that computer CPUs have gold in it, so there is a way of extracting them using chemicals and different acids and bases. So some of the metals are taken out from the devices like that. So currently yes.
Okay. Next is, as a citizen of India, what advice you should give to others for e-waste disposal?
Yes. I would like to I would want my fellow citizens to make this a big concern, even in the elections too, because the political parties are not paying attention to these kind of things, especially in the regions of Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and Karnataka, because they are the leading producers of e-waste in India, and also create awareness among their family and friends.
Good. Now it's over to Srishti.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Chair, for this wonderful presentation. Your articulation was on point, and I must say this, your answers proved your and reflected your confidence. With this, we have come to an end of today's seminar. I will take a moment of your time to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of all those who worked really hard to make this event a resounding success. First of all, I would extend my sincere thanks to our erudite judges, Mrs. Asmita Linka ma'am and Mr. Dhirendra Kumar Muduli sir, for taking out their time from their busy schedules and gracing the seminar. I would also like to thank our revered principal ma'am, Mrs. Ipshita Das, and our supervisor ma'am, Mrs. Suryakanti Chema ma'am, for providing us with this virtual platform to showcase our skills. Furthermore, I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our computer science department and all the people behind the screens for organizing this event so successfully. At last, with a deep sense of gratification and appreciation, I thank all the participants who participated with so much vigor and all the teachers and the students for their esteemed audience. Thank you.